welcome you to Series 3 in the School of Leadership, and we're talking about creating your future. Last week, we talked about creating the conditions for personal success. So this week, we'll just build on that, creating your future. When you see bodybuilders, whether in Nigeria, in Ghana, male, female, the first thing I want to ask you here is that this body that you see, is it a gift? Is it a gift? Is it a gift? Huh? Is it a gift? Is it a function of genes? Bodybuilder, is it a function of genes? It's not a function of genes. It's a function of discipline. You understand? It's not a function of genes. Anybody can go to the gym, and when you start doing the exercises, the muscles doesn't respect, you understand? The muscles do not respect genes. You know, sometimes we use our genes and the concept of giftings to explain away success. So this tells you that a well-sculpted body is an inverted comma. Let me use the word. A well-sculpted body is not a gift. I want to say it's man-made. A well-sculpted body is man-made. Mae Jemison was the first black woman that got to space. And they asked her, what's the secret of success? And you know what she says? That it says the secret of success can be summarized in one word, which is lifestyle. That life is God's gift to you, but style is what you make out of it. God doesn't determine style for you. You are the person that determines style. So if you take this well-sculpted body, the first thing I want to say here, which is the principle that we'll build on today, that every success story is created. Every success story is created. That's the fundamental principle. If you remove the word success story and you put the word failure, you come to the same thing, that every failure is what? Is also created. No man is born a success or a failure. People become successful or fail in life because of the decisions and the actions that they took. So today, we're talking about creating the kind of future you want. Every success story is created. The same way the six-pack, the bodybuilding doesn't just happen, you cannot leave your future to chance. You understand? If you want six-pack, if you want success, then you need to get to the gym. You need to do the exercises. You need to do it day in and day out. So every success story is created. Take the world's richest man today. What's his name? Elon Musk, valued at close to 300 billion. And Elon Musk is the world's richest man because there are creations around him. PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company. This is from Time Magazine. You understand? Zip2, SolarCity, OpenAI. So the reason why he's the world's richest man is because of the creations that he has. It wasn't just because America loved him so much and made him the world's richest man. You understand? It wasn't luck in quotes. It wasn't favor in quotes. There are creations that has made him the world's richest man. Now, if you remove Elon Musk and you put a Tony Lumelu there, you can see his creation. If you put a Jim Ovia there, you can see his creation. If you put a Dangote there, you can see his creation. People become successful because of their creations. They become successful because of the things that they created. And this is every success story is created. So if I put you in the center, the question is, what creation will be in the outer ring? If I put you in the center, what will be your own creation? And that's the problem with a lot of people. You want success, you forget that the principle here is that success story is created. So this creation has become the vehicle for him to become the world's richest man. Whether somebody else will overtake him, for me, it's immaterial. There was a time Bill Gates was the world's richest man for almost over a decade. And the reason for that was because of Microsoft. Then Jeff Bezos came. The reason for that was Amazon. Every success story is created. People do not just succeed. You understand? There are creations around them in the outer ring. So you can't talk about Elon Musk without Tesla. You can't talk about Elon Musk without some of these creations. So I said to you here that if I remove Elon Musk and I put somebody that is a failure, one thing you'll find out that you won't find any significant creation in the life of a failure. And if you find a creation, it will be a negative creation. Am I speaking to somebody? It will be a negative creation. And I said to people that the difference between successful people and failures is in their what? In their creations. That's the difference. The things that you create for your world will determine whether you will succeed or whether you will fail. And so the question we need to ask ourselves this morning here is, what is our creation? You understand? That's the question. There are like 6 or 7 principles I'm going to teach this morning in creating the future that you want. But we need to start this way. We need to start thinking. Elon Musk did not become successful just because America liked him. There was something he created. Dangote did not become successful because Nigeria liked him. There was something he created. Tony Lumelu, Jim Ovia, you can mention this name. There are creations around these people. So what will be your own creation? So you see that in the beginning, God did what? Created. You understand? In the beginning, God created. There's always so if you put God at the center, you see the heavens and the earth. You understand? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And so today, what I want us to do is take the lessons from creation. So this will be in part 1 and in part 2. Because I want us to take it one step after the other and decide how to create the kind of world that we want. I'll say to you here that there are 3 C's of creation. Every time you look at the concept of creation, there are 3 C's. The first C is the C of clarity. We'll take each one, we'll build on that. The first C, the 3 C's of creation, using creation from C. The second is conviction, and the third is commitment. So those are the 3 C's that we'll talk about this morning. And from these 3 C's, there are 6 or 7 principles that we're going to share. The 3 C's of creation starts with what? What's the first C again? Clarity. The second is what? Conviction. And the third is what? Is commitment. The 3 C's of creation: clarity, conviction, and commitment. So let's take the first C of clarity. Now, if you check that word, the verse that says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, it was clear that God knew what he wanted to create from the very beginning. That's clarity. People succeed when they are clear about what they want to do with their lives. So in the beginning, 2022 is just starting. In the beginning, you understand, what exactly do you want to create? So I say here that creation begins with what? An idea, or clarifying your priorities. So what are the things that are important for you in 2022? So principle number 1 under clarity is that you need to know the things that are important to you. What will be your own creation? Like SpaceX, like the heavens and the earth, like PayPal. What will be your own creation? And notice the word, it was in the beginning. From the very beginning, you need to be clear about destination. You need to be clear about where you're going. It's like the concept of the GPS. The GPS is useless if you don't put a destination. The GPS only works when there's a clear destination. Without a destination, the GPS is useless. So it says in the beginning, and this is the beginning of the year. You need to get clear about the things that are important to you. What are your priorities? You understand? What for you will be your own heavens and the earth in that context? Your own Tesla, your own PayPal in the beginning. And can I say this? As I read this man's story, if you look at the word creation, people will tell you that there are 2 words. The one that means to create from nothing or to improve what exists. And it wasn't Elon Musk that started Tesla. He was actually, he bought into Tesla. Some 2 guys started Tesla. He came in, bought into Tesla, and today Tesla has made him what he is today. Sometimes we don't need to start it or bet it. We need to see people who are doing something great, novel, and we join and bring the value to it, and by that way we succeed. But first is you need to clarify what is important to you, and that clarity must happen when? In the what? In the beginning. So this is the beginning of the year. This is the right time for you to make clear what is important to you. So I saw this quote by Paul Meyer. Paul Meyer is one of he's late now, but when he was alive, he was like one of the leading goal-setting experts in America. And he said, if you are not making the progress that you would like to make or are capable of making. So 1 is desire, what you would like to make. 2 is about potential capacity that you are capable of making. You know you're bigger and better than where you are, but you're not making the kind of progress that you want. He said it is simply because your goals are not what? Clearly defined. And last week I talked about defining what success means to you. So that's pointer number 1. Pointer number 1 is getting clear about what this year would look like. Because last week I said that you'll find what you define. If you don't define it, you won't find it. By the law, with different laws of attraction, or whatever laws you want to call it, the mind begins to search for the things that you've defined as important to you. It's the things that you define as important to you that you pay attention to. It's the things that you define as important to you that you put your energy in. So starting point is, in the beginning, what do you want to create? Clarity. Then it comes to conviction. Now, clarity is good. We see you can define it, but if you are not convinced that you are capable of accomplishing it, that definition is dead on arrival. So in the conviction part, there are two things I would like to say in the conviction part. The first thing I want to say here is that you must believe in your abilities or your capacities to bring to pass the things that you have clarified. So take, for example, let's say you want to make $100,000 this year, for example, or you want to start your own business. Do you believe that you can bring it to pass? Because if you don't clarify it says, I want to start this business. I want to lose weight, you understand? And you want to lose weight, it needs to be specific, you understand? Is it 10 kg? I want to weigh 70 kg by December 31st. That's clarifying and goal setting. We'll talk about that much later. But if you don't believe that you are capable of bringing that thing to pass, you will not put forth the energy that is required. So point number 2 says you must believe in your ability, because belief must precede performance. David got to that point in his life where he saw Goliath taunting the Israelites and said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he defies the armies of the living God? And David was asking, what will be given to the man that will kill this uncircumcised Philistines? For David, Goliath was already dead. David saw Goliath and says, I can kill this man. People do not enter battle without believing that they can succeed. For you, that battle might be starting your own business. That battle might be losing weight. That battle might be growing, whatever it is. If you don't have that belief, and look at David, the brother says you are not able. Saul says you are not able. And David says, I have killed the lion and the bear. And these uncircumcised Philistines will not be any different. In point number 2, you must believe in your ability to birth, to bring to pass the things that you want to create this year. So belief must precede performance. And that's the problem with a lot of people who want to perform, but you don't believe it. I think I'm trying to remember who said this quote, that no man can climb above the limitations of his own beliefs. So your belief becomes the limitations of your potential. It was Henry Ford that says, whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, either way you are correct. So if you believe you can, you understand you are correct. If you believe you cannot, either way you are correct. In point number 2 in creation, you understand that belief must precede that. Imagine God, without any evidence, went out and created the heavens and the earth. That's why the Bible says we should have the God kind of faith, that ability to bring from nothing, you understand. It starts with belief. I like this quote by Bruce Barton. And this quote summarizes, it's one of my favorite quotes. It says, nothing splendid has ever been achieved except by those who dared believe. Who dared believe. You know, look at Tesla believing in electric cars when the world was buying diesel and all cars. When there was no, in quotes, evidence, need for electric cars. And Tesla believed that someday the world will go beyond gasoline. Believed it 10 years in advance. Today, the value of Tesla is bigger than the value of the other 5 big car companies put together. If you add Toyota, if you add General Motors, if you add Ford, if you add the Volkswagen Group, if you add them together, Tesla is bigger than them. Somebody who dared believe that something inside of them is superior to circumstances. I think the problem with a lot of us is that we gauge the size of our belief based on our resources and the circumstances that we find ourselves. That people who succeed look at their resources in spite of their resources, in spite of their circumstances, say to themselves, I am bigger than my environment, I am bigger than my challenge. Whatever that challenge is. That challenge might be financial, that challenge might be physical, that challenge might be emotional, that challenge, whatever the challenge is. Until you get to that point where you believe that, I know that yes, circumstances right now might not be working the way I want, but I am bigger than circumstances. He said, nothing splendid. David killing Goliath, there has been different people have written books about David killing Goliath. You see, and what this place is saying, it starts with belief. Someday, God helping us, I'll show you eight principles of personal effectiveness from David and Goliath. but one I want to bring here is the concept of belief. And so look at your dreams and look at your goals. You must tell yourself that I can. This is possible. This is realistic. Remember when I did a seminar online last year, and I talked about the concept of 10x. And I said, take your widest dream right now. Take your widest dream. Whatever your widest dream is, multiply it by 10. Whatever your widest dream. So you say you want to make $1 million this year. Let's say that's your widest dream. Multiply $1 million by 10. That's $10 million. Now, are there people who have made or are making $10 million a year? Talk back to me. Yes. There are people who are even making $1 billion a year, you understand? So your widest dream, what you are even dreaming in the future, is somebody else's past. Your widest dream is somebody's past. It's somebody's reality. Not even one, not even two, not even, if you count the number of people who are worth over $1 million, they are in millions. Believe that your dream is possible. So that's point number 2 under conviction. But belief is not enough. You need to move to number 3. Number 3 is you need to convert your belief to what? A decision. Because decision is what converts ideas into products. You know, sometimes we can start to say all the things we believe, but until you decide to do something. Belief is good, it's fine, it's amazing. So decision, I want to break it into 2, so 3 and 4, even though they're talking about decision. So you need to decide, you understand? You need to decide. Because it's not enough to just remain in the level of belief. It is when you convert belief to decision that you give your belief or your dreams an opportunity to become a reality. So in point number 3 here is that you need to make a decision. You need to get to that point where it says, this must happen. So that's point number 3. It says, what must happen this year for you? You understand? Point number 1 says, you need to be clear of what you want to happen. Point number 2 says, you need to believe you can make it happen. Point number 3 says, this must happen. That's decision. Decision says, I must grow the business. It's a decision. You understand? That's decision. This weight, or I must make this amount of money is point number 3, because it's decisions that convert ideas into what? Into product. Now, I want to go a bit, maybe spiritual, or you understand. If you check through, if you read the good book, you will see that there are 2 histories. In Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created. We know that God existed before the beginning, true of us. A man must exist before his creation. So there is the eternal history. That's the history of God in eternity. We know the good book tells us that before the heavens were created, God was God. That's the eternal history. But the revealed history starts with Genesis 1:1. And the revealed history is that history that God came out and created the heavens and the earth. Before he created the heavens and the earth, he has always been God. But in the revealed history was when he created the heavens and the earth. And every time you read the Bible, let me use that for example, you will see also there are 2 histories. There's the normal history and there's the redemptive history. What do I mean? We never knew the story about Abraham until Genesis 11:12 when God called Abraham. We never knew the story of David. David was born. Nothing was told to us about David's birth until when Samuel went to anoint David. Every time. So you see the second history. There's normal history, which is the history of your birth, and there's the redemptive history, which is the history of your divine purpose. Are you following me? So every man has what? 2 kind of history. Now, in terms of success, there are 2 histories. And the 2 histories of success are the normal history, the day you are born, and the creative history, the day you decide to create something for your world. So we didn't know about Elon Musk, for example, until the creation begins to birth itself. And that is the second part. There are a lot of people, the only history you have is what? It's normal. That's the only history you have. Normal. Nothing significant happened. Nothing significant happened. It's normal. Solomon gone, they born on Monday, Christian on Tuesday. You know that song. And before you know, nothing significant. They were born, they lived, they died. No value. So there was not a time in their history that they decided to do something significant with their life. So point number 4 says that is the day you decide to do something great, something significant. That's the day a new beginning starts. Am I communicating? People are quiet. Am I communicating? The day you decide is the day of your new beginnings. The day you decide to start your own business. The day you decide to go get a PhD. The day you decide to enter the gym to lose weight. The day you decide, you understand, whatever, to learn a new skill. The day you decide is the day a new beginning starts. And so I ask you this morning, what history do you have? Do you have only just a normal history? Which is, everybody has a normal history. Once you are born, you will have a normal history, and just keep living, you will enter adolescence, keep living, you will enter adulthood, keep living, you will enter the old age, and you will ultimately exist the world. That's a normal history. Nothing significant is written about your life. So take Nelson Mandela or take Martin Luther King. You write their normal history, but you cannot talk about the civil rights movement without Martin Luther King. You can't talk about the freedom from apartheid without Nelson Mandela's story. So let me ask you here, what will be written about you in your generation? I'm trying to remember the person that said this quote. Horace Mann. Horace Mann was the president of Antioch College, and somewhere in 1859 or 1899, he said to the graduating set of Antioch College, he said, be ashamed to die until you've won some worthy cause for humanity. Be ashamed to die until you have won some worthy cause, until you make a significant difference, that you be ashamed to die. And that should be the mindset of everybody seated here. What would you create for your world? Point and number 4. Am I communicating? What would you create? What would be associated with you? You understand? You can either be known for the value you added or for the destruction that you caused. What would you create? And every time history is written, it's written by a small group of people who decided to make significant impact in their generation. And point number 4 says, would you be part of that particular group? The group that will make history. We write their history. We write their story. We all have a normal history. Where you were born is your normal history. You understand? The family you were born into is your normal history. Your environment, where you grew up in is your normal history. But we see people from that same background, that same environment, that with the same hereditary as you and I. Some people have rewritten their history and created a life of success. And I'm asking you this morning, would you be stuck to your past by your own normal history? You don't understand where I was born. You don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand my environment. You don't understand my family background. I understand that's your normal history. Get to the point where you decide. So the day David decided to enter the battle was the day all Israel knew David. That was when David's creative history, second history started for him, because David decided to do something significant for the benefit of his generation. Point and number 5 is in the 3rd C. So we said there are how many C's of creation? 3 C's. C number 1 is what again? Is the C of what? Clarity. And clarity says number 1 is that you need to be clear about what you want to accomplish in life. That's the first thing. That if you are not making the progress that you desire upon or you are capable of making, it simply means that you are not clear about your goals. So we got to the 2nd C of creation, and that C is the C of what? Conviction. And the C of conviction says that belief must precede performance. That if you don't believe it, you cannot accomplish it. You understand? Whatever you believe is what eventually will become a reality to you. But belief is not enough. We said the next thing you need to do is you need to make decisions, because decisions are what converts ideas into product. And the 4th point we said is that your life actually begins the day you decide to do something significant for your life, for your generation. The day you decide to do something significant. Then we come to the 3rd C. And the 3rd C has 3 points. The 3rd C has 3 points. It says one thing to believe. It's one thing to decide. It's one thing to be clear about what you want. It's one thing to believe you can do it. It's one thing to make a decision. But you see, when the rubber meets the road, you understand, people would give up. People would quit. So the first thing here, which is point number 5, is the concept of daily commitments to goals. Now, people who succeed, you understand, they don't just decide one day. Yes, they decide today, when you decide that rush of adrenaline, you can announce it to the whole world. What happens the next day? What happens the second day? What happens the third day? It's the same thing with marriage. You understand? You decide I'm in love with you. We get all excited. Last week Sunday we had something. We got all excited. But that decision is something you make. You need to keep making the decision for your husband, for your wife. It's a daily commitment to that individual for you to have success. In the same vein, it doesn't matter what you're clear about. It doesn't matter what you believe your dreams to be. You understand? Whether you can bring it to pass. Without the daily commitment to your goals. So I must see what you do daily towards your goals. That is the thing that will tell me whether that dreams will come to pass. I started with Elon Musk. I go back to Elon Musk. And you know what he says? He said, so people are funny that I work 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people say I am lucky. That's to say people are funny. That is still, I put in 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people say I'm lucky. You see, show me how you live your life. I can predict your future. I think it was Mike Murdoch that says that your future is hidden in your daily routine. If I see what you do daily, I can predict whether you accomplish your goals. What happens to a lot of us is that we get excited at the beginning of the year. We set New Year resolutions. We go to the gym. By the second week, we drop off. And it becomes a cycle that repeats itself. But successful people, this is one of my favorite quotes, that successful people do daily what ordinary people do what? Occasionally. That's the difference between successful people. So take the picture of the six-pack that I talked about. Can I say this to you? If I go to the gym and I lift weight for 4 hours, will the six-pack appear? Small. Maybe what you have is muscle pain and all that. And guess what happens to a lot of us? Because of the muscle pain, what do? We give up. But what do successful people do? In spite of the pain, they go back again to the gym. They go back the second time. They go back the third time. They go back the fourth time. And maybe in 1 month, they begin to see it turns to 1 pack. Then before they keep at it, it turns to 2 packs. That's what happens to a lot of us. We want to lose weight. We do the exercise. We climb on the weighing scale. You don't see any weight loss. You give up. So great people or successful people will do what? Daily. What ordinary people do what? Occasionally. That's the difference. Take any sphere of your life, whether it's football. What's the difference between you that play football as a hobby? You do it occasionally, but the people that make football as their own point of livelihood, they do it what? They do it daily. Take even the keyboard. You understand? People who make a living from keyboard do it daily. They keep practicing, honing their skills. They do it daily. That great people do daily what ordinary people do what? Occasionally. Same thing with a marketer. A marketer that he calls the first day, he didn't get the answer. He calls the second day, he didn't get the answer. Some people would have given up as a result of rejection, but they keep calling every day. Maybe it's the 100th person that they called that would have said, oh wow, you're the person I'm looking for. Great people do daily what ordinary people do occasionally. Paul says, I die how many days? Daily. It's a daily affair. There has to be daily commitment to goals. So I said to people that every day that you live and you don't do something that is in line with your goals is a wasted day. Every day. And when you go for 1 week, you will break the pattern. So maybe for you is to read a book 10, 15 minutes every day. Do it daily. Because once you do it daily, it becomes a lifestyle. And once it becomes a lifestyle, remember the concept of automaticity. Life has a way of automating it for you. Automaticity is good when it is the right behaviors. Life has a way of automating it for you that you can't break it. Do daily what ordinary people do. Aristotle says we are what we repeatedly do. That excellence is not an act. It is what? It's a habit. Excellence is not an act. People don't stumble to excellence. It's the daily practice. I call it daily discipline. So I say here, as an equation, DD is equal to DP. You understand? What is DD? DD for me here is the concept of daily discipline. So the daily discipline, the things you do daily, whatever that thing is. So your dreams and your goals, whatever they are, must have daily impact. Can I say this to you? If your goal doesn't shift a portion of your daily lifestyle, it's not a goal, it's an illusion. If your goal is not in your daily calendar, what you have is a mirage or a hallucination. Because your goals must shift a portion of your calendar. You must make allowance. You must accommodate it. You must change a portion of your lifestyle. And that daily discipline, so what is DP? It's not your display picture. You understand? It's dominant position. Now, so for every company, every individual who has gotten to the top, you understand, in life, their daily practices is the law of compound effect. You understand that law of compound effect, that as you do it, guess what is happening? Compound effect is taking place, momentum is taking place, and it brings you to that particular point where people start wondering and say, that's the uninitiated, we'll call it luck. You understand? The uninitiated will call it luck. They will use luck. He was lucky. They forget the daily disciplines. Oh, he was gifted. They forget the daily disciplines that person has put to that gift, to make the gift, you understand, to bring the gift to that point of, in that looks easy and natural. So in order to confirm that your daily disciplines is what will lead you to dominant position, so I went to one article that I have from Harvard. This is how to create a culture of excellence. And it says what top-notch companies have. Top-notch. The Googles of this world, the Apples of this world, top-notch companies. You can mention them. What they have that mediocre companies lack is a culture of excellence. Now, you can understand what's a culture of excellence. You know, sometimes we say stuff and the rest. They now explain what cultures of excellence mean. Beliefs, which is point number 2. Beliefs and what? And what? Behaviors. Demonstrated what? Day in and day out. Not occasionally. That enable and inspire everyone in the organization to do their best. It's day in and day out. It's the concept of daily discipline. They start with customer service. We're going to deliver this. We're going to go out of our way. And they put all the structures, daily discipline. And as they practiced it year in and year out, day in and day out, week in and week out, guess what happened? At the end of the day, they got to that dominant position. I think I read this book from Brian Tracy, that if you invest 15 minutes a day consistently, reading and researching the area of your field, that in 5 years you will be one of the top leaders in that field. So all it takes is simply what? 15 minutes what? Talk back to me now. 15 minutes what? Daily. Or put it 90 minutes a week. Averagely, 90 minutes a week. Let's leave the maybe Sunday out. 90 minutes a week. That if you invest 15 minutes every day doing nothing, just reading and researching. So if you're in HR, reading and researching what the latest trend. If you're in IT, reading and researching. If you're in marketing, just keep reading something about your field. If you spend 15 minutes every day, Brian Tracy, that in 5 years. Now, the problem is, whether you spend the 15 minutes or not, in 5 days' time, you would arrive. True of us. Keep living. 5 years' time. 2027, you will arrive. The question here is, in 2027, would you arrive as a top-notch individual, or would you arrive as a mediocre person? Because you will arrive, whether you do it daily or not, it's okay. I said in the first series that the years will reveal what the days will not teach. So at 5 years' time, you will arrive, but you will not look back and say, wow, I wasted 5 years of my life because of the problem of daily disciplines. I said to you that Abraham Lincoln says that the one thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. So every day that you live and you don't do something with respect to your dreams and goals, point number 1, you're actually wasting your future. Let me go for time's sake. Point number 6 here. Point number 6 is the commitment to completion. You see, a woman can get all excited. A woman, you understand, pregnancy, but if she doesn't complete that process, that's when she calls a mother. Completion. The beginning God created. You have Elon Musk, there's completion. Now, if you don't complete it, if you don't start and finish it, when are rewards given? At the beginning or at the end? At the beginning or at the end? It's at the end. It's those who complete. That feeling of completion. Waldo Emerson says that a great majority of people are bundles of beginning. Now go back again, daily discipline. So let me just do this in my spirit. If you go back to again, you understand, if you look at even the creation story, the first day he made the light, the second day he made, every day was relevant. The only day he rested was after when he completed. Only on completion did he rest. But every day there was a goal. Every day there was something to create. Every day there's something significant. You must have every day what your priorities are for the day. What is the most important thing that I need to create today to push me forward into my dream? But guess what? It doesn't matter what you do daily. You must also what? Complete. What Emerson says, a great majority of people are bundles of beginning. You understand? They start, they get all excited, they keep it for 1 month, they keep it for 2 years, and guess what happens? They quit at the end of the day. Now, what separates successful people from the not so successful is simply the concept of completion. So whatever your goals are, I don't know what that goals are. You understand? You need to complete. You need to complete it. It's in completion that you find success. Final point, because I said final point. We're supposed to do this for 45 minutes. Now, the final point here says you need to be accountable. Accountability is the glue of greatness. It's the thread that holds everything together. And what does accountability say? It's the discipline that ensures that whatever you decide, you will complete it. No excuses, no trading blame, no surprises. 3 things. No excuses. I won't give an excuse. So if this is what I want to accomplish, I'm going to accomplish it. And it says here, I'm going to give account for my ability. That's what accountability is. You have dreams, you believe in the capacity, that glue that binds everything together. That when I start something, I am going to finish it. Now, you can do daily accountability. You understand? You can do weekly accountability. You can do monthly accountability. Without accountability, ability will be dissipated in frivolities. And what is accountability? In simple definition, I don't want to go into accountability. They talk about the 3 A's of accountability. You need to agree, you need to act, you need to answer. These simple A's. Agree that this is what I want to. This is what I want to accomplish. Act. We've talked about daily disciplines. Answer. At the end of the week, at the end of the month. So this is midweek, mid-month in January. What did I decide that I was going to accomplish? Now, what have I accomplished? Now, you also need to bring yourself under a yoke and under a burden. That if I have not accomplished the things that I want to accomplish, what sacrifices do I need to make to accomplish it? And if I'm making progress, what rewards do I need to give myself in order to accomplish it? Accountability is that glue that binds everything together. People who are not accountable, and if you take Nigeria, for example, the problem of Nigeria is that our leaders lack accountability. So they are not answerable to anybody. And when a man is not answerable when a man is a lord unto himself, it takes a greater sense of discipline for that man to obey the things that he's supposed to do. So sometimes in accountability, call a partner. Have what is called an accountability partner. And tell the person that this is my goal for this week. This is my goal for the year. So yesterday night I said to my wife that my goal for the year is that I want to master 4 areas. I want to master 4 areas. Leadership is one area. I think I've done that very well. But one area that I need to master is the area of marketing and selling. You understand? One area is the area of marketing and selling. I need to understand all the principles, the rudiment, how to grow a business. And what did I do? Daily discipline. I went to my library. I have over 10 books on marketing. I pulled the 10 books out, and I said, okay, this between January to date, I've read like 4 books on personal success and personal disciplines. Now, let me start reading the books on marketing. Let me see what can I learn. And so my wife, I told her so that she's an accountability partner. She can measure my progress. She can hold me accountable. You say you're going to develop competence in this area. How far are you going? So I streamlined the 4 areas this year that I'm going to develop competencies. It's one of my goals to develop competency. But I had to ask her because sometimes when something is not in your normal domain, there's a tendency for you to leave it. Daily discipline, there's a tendency for you to get tired. If I'm reading leadership, I don't get tired. If I'm reading personal effectiveness, I don't get tired. If I'm reading strategy, I don't get tired. But if I'm doing marketing and selling, there's a tendency for me to get tired. So in those areas where there's a tendency for you to give up, you need what? An accountability partner. Am I communicating? In those areas where there's a tendency for you to give up, you need an accountability partner. So what I decided to do is give you a summary And a summary is from the concept of idea. And so I asked myself, so what would idea be? So write for me, let's write idea, and I give you the summary, and I close the series this morning. We're going to continue next week on some principles from creating your world. So let's remind ourselves, principle number 1 says what again? You need to what? Be clear on the things that you want. You understand? Principle number 2 says you need to what? Believe. You understand that you must believe in your capacity to bring them to pass. Principle number 3 says you must make the decisions because decisions convert ideas to products. Principle number 4 says that your life actually begins the day you make a decision to make something, to do something what? Significant. Principle number 5 talks about what? Daily what? Daily commitment to your dreams and to your goals. So what's principle number 6? Completion. You must complete it. There should not be anything that is not completed is called a miscarriage or an abortion. You understand? That doesn't get its time. You must say to yourself, no miscarriages this year. Whatever goes, I must complete. And one way to do that is principle number 7. Have people, accountability partners, people that will hold you accountable. Now, I'm not saying you share your dreams with everybody. You share your dreams with people that are relevant to your dreams and tell them, this is what I want to accomplish. This is the sacrifice I need to make. And I need you to hold me accountable. When I'm falling off, call me. So let's summarize this. Summarize this with the concept of idea. And let's look at idea so that every time you remember idea, you remember if I take the whole things I've taught and put it in that bucket. So this is my framework. Idea starts with I, and the first thing is your ideal. So your ideal ties to what you want to accomplish. You understand? So what will be an ideal year for you? What will be a fantastic year for you is I in idea. What is D? D is decision. You understand? D is decision. You need to make sure I'm taking the key points. D is decision. Then what is E? What do you think E will be? E is execution. You understand? You need to execute on your dreams. And what is A? What do you think A will stand for? Accountability. That is it. So this is, if you don't take the 3 C's or the 7 principles, you can take this. Your ideal, your decisions, your execution, or a sense of accountability. And they tie together. You can't be accountable if you don't know what you are supposed to be accountable to. You understand? You can't be accountable if you've not made that commitment, that decision. You can't be accountable if you are not acting, executing on your dreams. Now, this is why people are successful. This is why people become great. This is how people create the lifestyle that they want. So next week, Sunday, we'll take more lessons from Creation Part 2. Did you learn something today? Did you learn something, even if it's one thing? Did you learn something? Okay, thank you. So do have a great day. See you.